Okay, we ready?
Yes.
All right. I think we are live everywhere. I'm still not completely used to this. But hello, it's great to meet you. Um, and I'm so glad that you were able to give me some time. I know that you are really busy right now with a lot of interviews. And just for everyone who is not familiar, I think more people are probably familiar with you than are with me by now. Her fearless reporting has gone viral, and she's now a hero of independent journalists around the world. Masako Ganaha, did I pronounce that right? I hope. Uh,
Yes, thank you very much.
oh, good. Um, Happy Lunar New Year. I think we are in the process of New Year in Osaka, right? And now, I'm sure that I botched that greeting. I apologize. Hopefully not too badly, but I do know that I'm thrilled to meet you and to talk to you today. The way I usually start out is, if you don't mind, just take a minute or two to tell us about yourself, if you would.
Yes, nice to meet you. And my name is Masako Ganaha. And thank you very much for having me on. And maybe in the beginning, I should say sorry for my terrible English, but I will do my best.
No, it's good, really.
uh, so I am an independent journalist, and I publish my work on mainly YouTube or Twitter. And I've got 2 strikes on YouTube, so one more strike.
Oh no.
Yes. And this is my first time coming to Davos. The reason why I came to Davos is that I want to wake Japanese people up, because many Japanese are brainwashed by leftist media. And so, if you are to talk about the issue of globalism, you are immediately considered as a crazy person. But I wanted to break this atmosphere. That's why I came to see with my own eyes.
Excellent. Um, I have some video clips from your trip to the World Economic Forum, or WEF, at Davos. And, these are the things that were spread around social media. But I also hope that you'll tell us sort of about what you think the highlights are, because some things went viral. Maybe that wasn't the most important thing in your conclusions and your experience there. Um, but I tell you, the main thing that's going viral right now is a clip um, where Masako was actually able to find Klaus Schwab, one of the few people who was. And so I guess maybe I should just play that clip real quick. This is a short version of it. Oh, great! It's gonna buffer on me. That's weird. Hmm. Well, it looks like I'm going to have buffering issues, so maybe you could just summarize what happened. It was really a quick exchange where you just wanted to ask him a few questions. If he was in transit between one place and another, he said, "I'll walk." You offered him a few different options, and it looked like he was almost going to engage you. But the first thing he asked was, "Well, what news media outlet are you with?" And maybe you want to take over about what happened from there?
Ah, yes. So I try to. Oh, well, I have this habit to ask question before asking question. So I should have been just asking question, but so that's what I did. And he just first he said no, but then he looked back at me and asked me question, which media are you with? So I said independent media. Then this is the moment many people highlighted in this short clip of 2 minutes. And then I kept following him, trying to ask questions. And then eventually he went in the car, and his secretary or security or driver closed the door, and then he was gone. But when the door was about to close, I was thinking, oh, maybe this is the moment people, like so many people in the world, is hoping for. So I was kind of like pressuring myself, or why I could not just ask him a question, and like I cannot just give up, because this is the moment people, like many people, were hoping for. So maybe I should say something that I could clearly think from the bottom of my heart. So I wanted to give him a question, like the what legitimacy of World Economic Forum, because those people are not elected by us. There are no election, but then they invite the people who are elected by us, and they have this meeting. Many companies pay a lot of money to participate this conference, and they decide which direction the world will go to. So I wanted to question the legitimacy of this conference existence itself. So I just said, uh, there are voices. Do you know the voices of the people worried about globalism? If my English had been more better, then I could summarize it better. But so that was
I
the
think he understood. I think he understood you very well. He just, as soon as he found out that you were independent media, clearly he has now sort of recently realized um, that there are a lot of people out there. They're not in the outlets that he considers to be worthy of watching or legitimate. But I think that there are a lot of people in the elite class who just really didn't know the impact. They didn't know about this whole world of independent media. Even so, I guess they're on social media, but they didn't know about podcasts and YouTubers that don't necessarily pop up and into your recommendations and things like that. And they didn't understand the impact of the ankle biters, if you will, is like the word in English that they would use for smaller people who just kind of become a nuisance to the elites. They just don't take they clearly don't respect us. That's for sure. But he's worried about it, and he's aware of it now. I think right after the 2016 election is the first time that a bunch of people realized. That's when they started cracking down on independent media, and they realized that podcasts were a thing that had some influence and things like that. But yeah, that what you just said, the question that you had hoped to ask him, is I actually put that in my note. I made a note for myself here, and I said, unelected World Economic Forum figures who are engineering massive changes to our lives, and their goal is to all of our lives, right? Their their scope is entire, every country, every person. In most cases, these changes require sacrifices from us, severe loss of civil liberties, and yet they don't want to think that they ever need to speak to us, to the very people that they are impacting, that they're dictating to. And it never occurred to them, apparently, to get input, to solicit ideas from us, which is, just makes me think. And I put another note here to tell you that there's a phrase. It's a cliche phrase. It's called if you're having a verbal argument with somebody, you might, or someone's bossing you around, you might say, "Who died and made you the king?" Like Who do you think you are that you can boss me around? And so that's the question that always comes to mind. I mean, I have a lot of feelings about the things that the WF is doing, but I guess the one that keeps recurring, the biggest one is like, why do they believe they can make the rules for the world? Uh, Redesign the world. I mean, I understand organizing for activism to try to improve things, but this seems more like a God complex. Like, who, I would love for somebody to ask him that question. Who gave you this authority? Who died and made you king? Really. And as you said, that's like the really key. If you only had one question to ask, that's the thing that you would like to ask him. He doesn't want to answer that question. Clearly.
Yes. One thing actually encouraged me, although I could not give him direct question and get the answer out of him, but based on this experience, one thing I learned and which actually encouraged me was that Klaus Schwab himself, those globalists are aware of our resistance. So, like every day, I think about my activity, whether if this means anything or if anybody could wake up from my reporting. Sometimes very difficult because many people will right in my face, they tell you you are crazy. So I get disappointed.
Yeah.
But by this experience, I was encouraged. They know the existence of our resistance, and they of course they are big figure, but they are also human, so they understand the significance, or they are afraid of us. That's the feeling I get, and that's why he didn't answer my question, and that's what encouraged me. What we do means a lot. Yes, that's what I want people to realize from the footage.
Yeah, and I do think that others will be in, like you did an interview with Rebel News, and I was familiar with them from the Canadian trucker convoy, and so that's how I initially saw you, and this interview with Klaus and their interview with you. And then you told them that you were, I don't know about inspired by them, but I guess because of their work, it made you want to do more of your work and travel more and go to Davos. I think that's what you told them. Um, and another thing they said to you, like, how great it was that you're very persistent. Clearly, I don't know how many hours you walked around and tried to find people to talk to, but it looked like a lot, and it was snow and ice and not the most comfortable environment. So one of the things that they said to you was that um, you were very brave, and you said something to them about how. Well, let me just tell you that Julian Assange. There's a famous quote from Julian Assange, and he said that courage is contagious. And the thing that you said to Rebel News was something like that. You're like, your work gave me the courage to do my work, or something like that. And I just thought that was interesting too. That was heartwarming. Yeah.
Yes, actually, I've been following Rebel News on platform. They have website and they do great work and publish on Twitter. So I've been following Rebel News and especially Ezra Levant
Right.
and Avi Yamini.
Mm-hmm.
Last year they came to Davos. It was held in May, so without snow, and it was I think their first time coming to Davos. I think, and they did a great report. So that's when I realized, oh, people can actually go there and see what is happening, and actually maybe encounter those figures. So that's what inspired me, and that's why I decided to come here. And may I list some of the journalists that I
Oh,
got
please do.
inspired?
Yes,
Yes,
please
okay.
do.
Okay, so Rebel News, they are based in Canada, and the Rebel News commander, his name is Ezra Levant. He recently did a great interview with the CEO of Pfizer, and it went viral. Yes, and then Avi Yamini, he also is from Rebel News, and he is from Australia. And actually, last time he went to Davos, after returning to his country, he was detained. This thing didn't happen this year, but that's how impact he influence. And then Revo News UK, Callum Smiles, he is also a great reporter. And then last year, American, what should I say, former intelligence officer, Jack Posobiec, he also came to Davos, and I followed him, and he actually, one of the person inspired me to come to Davos. And then Savannah Hernandez, she appears on War Room quite often, and she did great reporting this time too. She goes also to southern border migrant issue. And then Noor Bin Laden, she is based in Switzerland, and she does great reporting. She appears on War Room, and actually she is the niece of famous Bin Laden, and she is very fighting for freedom. And then actually there is this one journalist I got to interview before coming to Davos. That's why I safely came and planned. His name is Louis Blackpool. He was at that time Revo News UK. He now works for Iconic. And he did long interview with me, giving me idea what to do, like which parking is good spot or what I can do on the street. So yes, he is very good journalist. And then there is this media called True North from Canada. His name is Andrew Lawton. He is one of the few actually got the ID badge entering Davos conference. He is not invited guest, but last year he was denied. But he tried.
But like media credentials, you mean? Like the tag? Okay.
Yes. And then he did a lot of good reporting, and he revealed that all the participants to this Davos conference have to take PCR test, and if any of them got positive, then their ID badge will be deactivated. That's how they apply
QR
to their
code or something like the Chinese. They have like a system like that where your ID goes red, yellow, and green or something like that.
Yes. Social credit score.
Yeah, they have. I think they have a specific one for COVID as well. Is if you, yeah. So,
So those great reporters did interesting coverage this year, and then made WEF aware that there are many of us watching them, and we need to they need to be held accountable. So I hope many people follow them. And one thing I think that was good education for me, and my biggest takeaway is that I was able to make connection with many patriot people from all over the world. That's one thing we really need to focus on, because our enemy is the same.
yeah, for sure. The other thing that you did a good job of was pointing out the hypocrisy. Like you had one tweet that was hilarious where you said that you saw steak restaurants in Davos, but no bug restaurants or whatever. and then you also got to talk to one of the drivers, like of the chauffeured cars, and you noticed that it was a gas car, not an electric car. And what was it he told you, that now this is a VIP car, so it has to be a gas car? I didn't understand that, but it was just another example of the hypocrisy.
Yes, this has been pointed out a lot, that those elites participate this conference. Many of them fly with private jet, and then they take helicopter from this airport to Davos town. So a lot of carbon footprinting.
Yes.
And then I was on this main street one night, and I thought this person, I did not recognize he was a driver at first, but I asked him if I can interview him, and he said, "Oh no, I'm just a driver." And then we started to talk, and what he was mentioning was so interesting that I asked him, like, "Can I interview you?" And he said, "Okay, no face, but I can do just voices."
Mm-hmm.
So I did this recording just by his shoes. And he and then he said, I asked this question, like I see, what do you think about 100 electricity powered car pointing out Uber car driving on this main street? And he said, I drive for VIP, so I cannot drive this type of car. So that was very interesting. Meaning he said it was dangerous because this lower temperature, the battery quickly dies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, that's one thing he mentioned about dangers. And I myself experience, because I take video with my phones, and the phone, I felt like somebody is draining my battery. That's how quickly it went down. So that's why he said it's dangerous, and he said I drive for VIP, and I cannot drive electricity car.
How about it? I never hear them mention things like that when they're preaching to us, right? Um, so I guess the other thing I was wondering is I saw the different things that went viral. Sort of definitely the Klaus. Um, well, pretty much. I guess there were three of them. The Greta Thunberg, when you were just trying to get her to answer a question, and um, I thought it was interesting how you made note of all the people around her. Not very obviously around her, not like packed with security guards, but there were all these different people who sort of stepped in, including, I guess, one who is her father. Uh, and so that was the one clip, the Schwab clip, and then the car driver clip were the three that I saw. But I was wondering, like, after this was over, maybe those are the things that went viral. But were there other things that were really highlights of your trip that maybe didn't get out there that you would want to talk about?
So there are many footages that I have not published yet, so it's coming soon. And one of the interview that I found it interesting was that a man I talked in cafeteria. There's a cafeteria many participants dine in. There is this coop. How should I pronounce? COOP.
Coop.
Or coop.
That's like chicken coop, you mean? Like or co-op or chicken coop?
Maybe co-op. Yeah,
co-op would be like a group of people coming together to work on a project. That'll be a co-op, whereas a coop is a chicken coop. Yeah, chicken house.
Yeah, I think it's a supermarket named co-op.
Co-op,
and there's
okay.
This cafeteria. So I was sitting by myself and having lunch, and it was like four seat table. So one man came asking me that if he can take a seat. So I said, go ahead. And then we started to talk, and he was wearing Wall Street Journal. So I noticed, maybe he's a journalist. So I asked him, are you a journalist? And we started to talk. And he is working for the Wall Street Journal promotion, not the journalist, but promoter. And so I asked him, can I interview you? And he said yes. So I started to interview, and I was trying to ask him, what do you think about people who call
looks like we lost Masako. Maybe she'll come right back in, hopefully.
I will come back.
Oh, there you are. Great.
So sorry. So I was okay. So I was trying to ask this main question: what do you think about people who disagree with news, mainstream news, or people who are criticized as disinformation? That kind of topic. But then, as we continue talking, he started to talk about how he personally think about World Economic Forum. And I noticed he doesn't like what they do.
Interesting.
So, yes. Yes. And then eventually he took off his Wall Street Journal t-shirts, and he said, now I'm going to talk about my personal opinion. and
Oh,
he started criticizing about WEF.
on
Yes.
camera?
Yeah,
On
on
camera?
camera, yes.
Oh,
Yes. And
huh.
he was very honest, and he really believed in his country that Switzerland, freedom of speech is guaranteed. So that was how he believed in, and that's how he expressed his opinion, personal opinion from his bottom of his heart. And he was talking about he originally from a different country, not Switzerland. He was born in I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the country, but not the European country or country where people starve and in great need. So he didn't like see those restaurants in restricted area where those participants eat, and then there are so many food waste. So he didn't like about this, and he also talked about how the town turned into, meaning many restaurants have with menu. They have a special menu during this week, and for example, coffee normally costs 5 Swiss francs, costs 10 Swiss francs.
Hmm.
So, so he does not like this. What they're saying and what they're doing is different and exploiting this wealth. That's what he didn't like it. And so it was very interesting that I'm going to publish soon.
Yeah, and that reminds me of another question that I would like to ask Klaus Schwab if I ever could. The whole issue of you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The 20 predictions for 2030. Uh, I would want to ask him, well, are you? Does that include you? Are you going to own nothing anymore? Or who is going to own everything? And I think they've kind of given the answer to that, which is some sort of trusts that they would create. But of course, trusts have trustees, and people who are guardians of those trustees and control them, which would be. But anyway, that's just one of the things I would like to ask him. Um, I don't want to keep you for too long because I know you have back to back interviews. Um, but how about like other, after having had some time to think about this trip, like what are your thoughts now about this event? What are your thoughts and sort of insights? What does your intuition tell you? Kind of what conclusions are you drawing from your experience there?
Yes, so I could point out two perspectives. One, when we talk about World Economic Forum, we need to not only focus on who have said what in particular one event, but overall fundamental issue, meaning how Chairman Klaus Schwab thinks or his fundamental ideology. And I truly think that he has this ideology based on communism or socialism because two of the person he respect, he named Henry Kissinger, and then the other person he respect is I want to tell you the name correctly. His name is Archbishop Helder Camera. He is an archbishop who's founder of liberation theology, meaning socialism in Christianity. And back in the day, he encouraged poor people to uprise against the rich using violence. So Klaus Schwab, respects those two. And what he is really doing now with World Economic Forum, we could truly understand by understanding those two people. So this is the one thing that I would like to people to realize and think when we talk about this World Economic Forum. And the other one is that not all the people participate this conference don't have this ideology. There are many people pay a lot of money, like business people, to get into this network. So there are many levels, and those people who pay a lot of money and participate, and for the world, they are, I would say, controlled. And this annual meeting is how to brainwash those key persons all over the world. So like this, what should I say? The reason, according to my analysis, the reason why they have to have annual meeting is to have this big event to brainwash those people who are in power and show them this is the direction we are going. And those business people or investors, they want to follow the path so that they can make a lot of money. And then those people who set this ideology, they can manipulate by using this echo chamber. So that's the takeaway I got.
Yeah, I often wonder who. Clearly, Klaus Schwab is he's a front man for other sources of power, but I'm not sure I understand exactly who is behind the World Economic Forum. I haven't really dug into it. I could have spent more time learning about them, but I spent many years just ignoring them. I think most people did. They're like, oh yeah, those Davos, but nobody paid that much attention to them until recently. Until they started doing things that really may really change our lives. Hopefully, won't. But anyway, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I hope that another time we could get together. I'd love to talk to you about some of the things going on in Japan, and especially since you're from Okinawa, maybe some other time we could talk about, the remilitarization, the trouble with Taiwan, and the growing hostility between U.S. and China, and Japan becoming more and more involved in that kind of thing. I'm curious about your thoughts on that, and just to hear someone who's local to it, to hear your point of view, because I think we need to make a real effort to talk to people who are local to specific situations instead of news media or people speaking for them. I just want to, I want to talk to someone like you who lives there to try to understand that perspective as best I can. So maybe after all of this calms down, maybe we could get together and talk about that. That'd be great.
Yes, I would love to.
So anything else that you would like to say before we wrap up?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I'm so happy to be able to connect people who are concerned on this same issue. And we need to connect, build up more tie so that we can fight effectively. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I think a network of independent media people is really important. And that's what we build every day as we get to know each other. We do interviews with each other or whatever we do. And, I'm big on that, sort of that common ground, even if I'm not aligned with someone politically. For issues like this, our individual politics and whether we're left or right, it doesn't matter. This transcends all of that. And, I think it's important that we find that common ground, and we are, and that's great. And it was really lovely talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time, and good luck with your stacks of interviews. I'll be watching for them.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Good night. Bye-bye.
Okay. Good night. Bye.
Okay.